Messi flying forward. Leo Messi!
United. Rafael Guerrero with the cross. Ronaldo.
Six-time Nigerian champions Rivers Hoopers have intensified preparations for the upcoming 2026 Nigeria Premier Basketball League Phase 3, with interim head coach Ronald Alaribo emphasizing squad unity and total mental focus ahead of the upcoming campaign. And Zofa boxing boss Dana White has cast doubt on the Anthony Joshua vs Tyson Fury fight, insisting the bout should have happened 10 years ago and questioning whether both men are still fully invested, in making it happen. And FIFA has parted ways with its chief operating officer Kevin Lamo less than 3 weeks after he publicly criticized President Gianni Infantino over an abandoned plan to sell a stake in a company that would manage the commercial and ticketing rights of FIFA competitions. Just so you know, Manchester City midfielder Rodrigo Hernandez Cascante has arrived in Barca. Barcelona ahead of his £65.4 million move to the Catalan Giants this very summer. And interestingly, Todd Boehly and Mark Walter have held talks about selling their shares in Chelsea to Clear Lake Capital. Of course, Chelsea were very much in the news this very summer, made some really good signings and are expected to have a pretty good campaign. But now the talks of a possible takeover majority of the shares. It's quite intriguing to have this coming at this point in time. Well, on that note, I say welcome to Sports 360 right here on CEM Television. And that the voice you trust and that video you probably need. They call me Rex Patrick the Locker, that homeboy that's never at home. I look around 247-365. I'm your host and guide. Now let's start off with golf this morning, where Leaf Golf has confirmed its season-ending team championship event in Michigan will no longer go ahead. And this week's tournament is in Indianapolis to be a stroke play event that concludes the season. Part of a lengthy Leaf Golf statement on Monday read, and I quote, with Leaf Golf Indianapolis serving as the final event of the season. The previously scheduled Aramco Leaf Golf Michigan, originally set for August 27 to the 30th at the Cardinal at St. John's Resort, will not take place. As of last Thursday, tickets for Leaf Golf's team championship event in Michigan could no longer be purchased on its official website. Amid reports it has been cancelled, while star player Tyrell Hatton entered a DP World Tour event on the same dates. The Telegraph reported a day earlier that Leafs players had been told of its cancellation. However, nothing was confirmed by the league itself until Monday. England's Hatton appeared on the latest version of the entry list for the British Masters, which also runs from August 27 to the 30th. Hatton is tossed on the entry list by fellow Leaf players Tom McKibben and Adrian Meronk, with the trio set to tee up at the Belfry, where the tournament is being hosted by Sir Nick Faldo. Prior to its cancellation, former Open champion Cameron Smith had said he would be disappointed if the Indianapolis event did not go ahead. Leaf's future into 2027 remains in doubt. Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, PIF, announced in April it would be ending its financing of, the league at the conclusion of the 2026 season, leaving Leaf Golf searching for new investors. League CEO Scott O'Neill announced earlier this month that the league had reached an agreement with a new unnamed lead investor to provide funding for the 2027 season. O'Neill said the deal was set to be finalized earlier this month, but added the new investor had signed a term sheet. From golf now, let's move on to tennis, where Britain's Arthur Ferry was knocked out of the Cincinnati Open, but only after a thrilling fight back was halted by Alex de Minaur following several rain delays. Of course, in the end, fifth seed de Minaur ground out a 7-5, 7-6 win, but rain delays occurred before the contest after the first game, following the end of the first set, and with de Minaur 7-5, 5-1 ahead, one game from the last 16 stage. Yet, following the resumption, Ferry proceeded to rattle off 5 games in a row in a complete momentum shift, breaking de Minaur twice to move 6-5 ahead, only for the Australian to regain his composure and force a tie-break. Once there, de Minaur's quality shone through. The 27-year-old will next face the winner of Arthur Fields versus Jiří Liheka for a place into quarterfinals of the event. With, the stars of the US Open just around the corner, Britain's 24-year-old Ferry is looking to build on his stunning run to Wimbledon final, since July. Early on Monday, Ferry was named in the Great Britain's Davis Cup for the home qualifying tie against Ecuador next month. He is joined by Cameron Norrie and doubles players Henry Patton and Lloyd Glasspool. Ferry featured in Britain's Davis Cup playoff against Poland in September 2025, beating Olaf Piekowski here in straight sets to help seal progress to the 2026 qualifiers. There remains a 5th spot up for grabs, which could go to Jack Draper if the former world number 4 can get back to fitness after an injury-ravaged year. Now let's move to boxing, where Zuffa boxing boss Dana White has cast doubt on the Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury fight, insisting the bout should have happened some 10 years ago, and questioning whether both men are still fully invested in making that very one happen. Joshua and Fury signed contracts to face each other earlier in the year, but no date or venue has been confirmed for the British heavyweight mega fight. According to reports, which is we waiting for what happens in the coming days or the coming weeks, and the bout is expected to take place in New York on November the 20th, though Joshua and his promoter Eddie Hearn are pushing for the bout to be held in the United Kingdom as their agreement stipulates. White, speaking after the UFC 330 event, revealed that his own involvement in the deal had been limited to the television and venue arrangement. According to the boxing scene, Joshua, who holds a professional record of 30-4 with 27 knockouts, signed a contract to face Fury, who has a record of 36, bouts, and lost 2 and won and drawn 1 with 25 knockouts in the United Kingdom. So it's a blockbuster encounter if it happens. Fury, however, did not stipulate that the fight must take place on British soil, and financier Turki Al Sheikh, along with Netflix, are set to favor a fight in the US, with Madison Square Garden in New York reportedly agreed by all parties except Joshua and Eddie Hearn, who remain keen on a fight at home. Fury's promoter Frank Warren said the disagreement over the venue could yet derail the fight altogether. Warren also gave an insight into how the delay came about, revealing that Fury signed for the fight in January, with the bout originally penciled in for September. A planned warm-up fight that month was, scuppered after Joshua was involved in a tragic accident in which he lost 2 of his close friends, a setback that pushed the timeline back. Warren said the fight was now expected to take place in November, with the venue to be announced in due course. White said he had grown weary of the uncertainty surrounding the fight. He said in his words, "Listen, this saga, we'll see how this whole thing plays out. I mean, they either want to fight or they don't. to make a fight, two guys have to fight, period. End of story. Contracts and these and that. There's a lot of money at stake in this fight. Do you want to fight, or do you want to, or you don't want to fight? I mean, so that's it for Dana White right there, saying, well, casting doubt about the potential, the possibility of that bout taking place amid speculations about the venue and, the date for that very one. From there now, let's turn our focus to basketball, where, interestingly, on the home front, six-time Nigerian champions Rivers Hoopers have intensified preparations for the upcoming 2026 Nigeria Premier Basketball League Phase events. Of course, six-time champions, they got interim head coach Ronald Alalibo emphasizing squad unity and total mental focus ahead of the upcoming campaign. Playing in the Atlantic Conference, the Kingsmen are targeting a return to the top flight here, at the top of Nigerian basketball, following a strong showing across phases. That's phase 1 and phase 2 of the 2026 NPBL. Speaking ahead of the phase 3 playoffs, Alalibo highlighted that every member of the roster will have a critical role to play as the coaching staff fine-tunes team chemistry and tactical readiness. Alalibo has previously praised his squad's depth and defensive output during their successful Phase 1 and Phase 2 outings in Ibadan and Enugu respectively, where key contributions from both the starting lineup and bench depth proved decisive, led on the floor by team captain Victor Koko Jr. and vice captain Buchi Vincent, alongside impact scorers John Idoga, Abel Ofia and Chinedu Nwogu. And of course, not forgetting Anaye Johnson and Victor Sunday, as well as valuable contributions from Samuel Sani, Eric Okechukwu and Aroko Tom. The Kingsmen enter Phase 3, focused on maintaining tactical discipline and minimizing unforced errors as the competition intensifies. The 2026 Nigeria Premier Basketball League Phase 3 playoffs will see the Kingsmen compete against fellow Atlantic Conference qualifiers, Marktown Flyers, Hopes and Raid, and of course Lagos Raptors, alongside Aso Skyhawks, 313 Warriors, Boko City Chiefs and Kano Pillars from the Savannah Conference, with games to be played in a round-robin format. Hoopers are hoping to reclaim the NPBL title this year after they were dethroned by Marktown Flyers, who competed as, Lagos Legends last year. Let's look at football now, where on the home front, Katsina United have promoted two of their most promising under-19 players to the senior team. The promoted players are Umar Rabiu Muhammad and Abdurrahman Saidu. The players have also signed their first professional contracts with the Shanji boys. They are now expected to start with the first team ahead of the new season. Muhammad and Saidu will fight for a place in the team. Katsina United finished in 9th position in the Nigeria Premier Football League last term. Elsewhere, Niger Tornadoes have beefed up their squad with the signing of Usman Audu. Audu joined the Ikonola boys from El Kanemi Warriors. He reunited with Kabiru Dogo, who was his coach at El Kanemi Warriors, and that was last season. Audu played a key role in Borno Army's President Federation Cup triumph last term. Recall that Tornadoes announced the arrival of 5 new players last week. Niger Tornadoes are strengthening their squad following the departure of several of their key players at the end of last season. From there now, let's move on to the international scene as we tell you that FIFA has parted ways with its chief operating officer, Kevin Lamore, less than 3 weeks after he publicly criticized President Gianni Infantino over an abandoned plan to sell a stake to a company that would manage the commercial and ticketing rights of FIFA competitions. FIFA confirmed on Monday that its working relationship with Lamore had ended, according to what we've gathered. The decision came after his criticism of the proposed FIFA Forward Enterprise Initiative. A FIFA spokesperson said, and I quote, "The working relationship between FIFA and Kevin Lamont as Chief Operating Officer has ended on August 17, 2026, adding that the governing body thanked him for his 2 years of service. Lamont had described the FIFA Forward Enterprise proposal as the project of one person and claimed FIFA's administration had been deceived about the initiative. He also described or criticized FIFA's or Infantino's leadership, saying a president must bring people together, unite them and inspire them. Today, we are experiencing the opposite. The proposal, talking about the FIFA Forward Enterprise, the company was abandoned by FIFA, led by Gianni Infantino, after plans to sell 21% of its stake to private investment firms attracted opposition from several football bodies. UEFA, CONCACAF and Asian Football Confederation opposed the proposal, while UEFA reportedly threatens to boycott the World Cup if the plan went ahead. The controversy has also affected Infantino's bid for a 4th term as FIFA president, with UEFA and CONCACAF withdrawing their support for his re-election. The Scottish Football Association also withdrew its backing for Infantino on Monday, joining England, Wales, Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. However, the Confederations of Africa, CAF, South America and Oceania have continued to support Infantino and his bid for re-election. Let's now look at the gossip column, as we look at some stories making the rounds regarding club football. As we tell you that Nigeria's striker, Taiwo Awoniyi, has joined newly promoted Premier League side Coventry City on a permanent transfer from the Tricky Trees, talking about Nottingham Forest, in a deal worth about about £9.1 million. Awoniyi completed the switch on Monday after bidding farewell to his former teammates at the City Ground on Sunday during the final pre-season friendly against Stade Brestois. Of course, the 29-year-old striker spent last 4 seasons in the Premier League with Forest, scoring 21 league goals in 90 appearances and 23 goals in 103 games across all competitions. The Nigerian netted 11 goals in his first campaign at the City Ground to help Forest avoid relegation in their first season back in the top flight and reach the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. He was also part of the team that finished 7th and qualified for European football, and that was in the 2024-2025 season, establishing himself as an important member of the squad. Reflecting on his new challenge with Coventry, Awoniyi said in his words, and I quote, "I'm very happy to complete my move to Coventry City. I'm very excited about this season and I can't wait to get started. I'm really looking forward to working with my teammates. I have seen how amazing they've been last season, coming up from the championship. They were incredible. And now I am just excited to join them and get started for the new season." Coventry have also signed Nigerian midfielder Frank Onyeka from Brentford following his successful loan spell in the championship last term, setting up a reunion with Taiwo Awoniyi at the club. Meanwhile, Forest owner Evangelos Marinakis also had a farewell message for the Nigerian, who became their club record signing for £17.2 million in the summer of 2022. He said, and I quote, "We thank Taiwo for everything he's given to this club. He lives with our gratitude, our respect and our very best wishes for his future. He'll always be part of the Forest family and will always be welcome home." And when he began his professional career at Liverpool and gained experience on loan at FSV Frankfurt, NEC Nijmegen, and of course Mascaron and KAA Ghent, his exploit earned him a place to the Bundesliga, where he joined Mainz 05 on loan for the 2019-2020 season, before another temporary spell at FC Union Berlin. That was in the 2020-2021 campaign. He impressed during his time in Berlin, promoting Die Essenen to sign him permanently in the summer of 2021. In another development, Manchester City midfielder Rodri has arrived in FC Barcelona ahead of his £65.4 million move to the Catalan Giants. The 30-year-old said it was a dream come true to be heading to the Camp Nou, with the deal set to be finalized following a medical today, Tuesday. Speaking to reporters at Barcelona's El Prat airport, Rodri said, and I quote, "I'm very happy to be here. It's been an intense few days, but I'm glad everything is sorted out. Playing for Barca is a dream come true for me. I'm really looking forward to being with my teammates, most of whom I already know from the national team. So now it's time to work hard and give my best. We are going for the Champions League. We are going for everything that comes our way." The midfielder, who lifted the World Cup with Spain this summer, had entered the final year of his contract right there at Etihad Stadium and was the subject of interest from both FC Barcelona and the arch rivals, talking about Los Merengues and that Real Madrid. Barca had seen an opening offer of £40 million rejected last week and failed with an increased bid before reaching an agreement on Sunday. If all goes to plan with Rodri's medical, his signing could be announced later today, with a formal presentation penciled in for Wednesday. City are hoped to keep Rodri, with Enzo Maresca, the new manager, describing him as a top player and saying all the teams need Rodri after the Community Shield on Sunday. However, they've been unable to persuade their linchpin to stay at the side and sign a new contract. Rodri had only returned to City on Friday, having undergone back surgery following the World Cup. The former Atletico de Madrid player has spent 7 seasons with City, winning the Premier League title 4 times and scoring the only goal when they beat Nerazzurri, talking about Internazionale Milano, in the 2023 UEFA Champions League final. The following year, he won the Ballon d'Or, but at the same time he was presented with a trophy, he was sidelined with an anterior cruciate ligament injury, which ruled him out for most of the 2024-2025 campaign. Further hamstring and groin problems then limited him to 33 appearances in Pep Guardiola's final campaign in charge of City. The citizens have already undergone major changes in midfield, with Sommer spending that £116 million. That's for that player, talking about Elliot Anderson, who joined from Nottingham Forest, while agreeing a deal to sell Tijani Reinders to Al Qadisa. They've also been linked with Lille's Ayoub Bouadi and Chelsea's Enzo Fernandez this very summer. Now let's tell you that Como manager Francesc Fabregas has expressed interest in a second Chelsea player after signing Trevoh Chalobah. Fabregas recently gave his blessing for Como to sign Chalobah in this summer's transfer window. The England centre-back, who joined the Serie A side in a deal worth £30 million, was the key target for Fabregas. Chalobah played alongside Fabregas at Stamford Bridge, made about 151 appearances, including 47 appearances last season. However, Fabregas has sanctioned a move for Chalobah's former Chelsea teammate Liam Delap. Delap has been up for sale by Chelsea. He's been put up for sale by Chelsea after a poor first season right there at the side. However, Como will have to battle the tricky trees, Nottingham Forest, who are also interested in signing Delap. Sticking with Chelsea, let's tell you that, Todd Boehly and Mark Walter have held talks about selling their, shares in Chelsea to Clear Lake Capital. Clear Lake currently owns 61.5% of the club, while Boehly, Walter and Hans Young each own 12.8% stake right there at the side. Clear Lake, under the leadership of Bedat Ekbali and Jose Feliciano effectively run the club, even though BOEHLY is the chairman. BOEHLY was the face of the consortium which bought the club 4 years ago in a £2.5 billion deal. In March 2025, BOEHLY said Chelsea's owners could go their separate ways if they could not agree on the future of Stamford Bridge. Chelsea bosses are considering whether to leave Stamford Bridge or to expand, with Earls Court seen as a possible new location. All options are being evaluated, with the project set to be complicated by the limited space in London to build. In an interview with Bloomberg, BOEHLY said in his words, we have to think long-term about what we are trying to accomplish. We have a big stadium development opportunity that we have to flesh out. That's going to be where we either aligned or we ultimately decide to go different ways. There have been tensions, between BOEHLY and Clear Lake in 2024. We saw that, and they even managed to sort out that situation, and now we have yet another coming up. Interestingly, we can't go any further. All right, we just have to put a pin right here this morning on Sports 360. Been a great time with you out there, and best believe you are the real MVP. I'm Patrick the Locker, and for now, adios.